Welcome back to day two of Sustainability Live, and I'm joined now by James Butcher of Supply Pilot. James, I wondered if you'd maybe just introduce yourself and your business to our viewers.
Thank you for having me. So as you say, James Butcher, I'm the CEO at Supply Pilot. Supply Pilot, we help companies achieve their sustainable transformations by helping them collaborate with their suppliers. So it's that richness of that discussion that allows them to drive carbon reductions, more sustainable products. So their chosen transformation.
And you delivered a fascinating keynote earlier on. You were looking at the subject of marginal gains in sport and how that can be translated across to achieving sustainability goals. I wondered if you could maybe just tell the viewers a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. So for people who are not familiar with the term, marginal gains was something that was made famous by the GB cycling coach, Sir David Brailsford, OBE. So when he inherited the British cycling team, it's fair to say they weren't doing very well. I think it was about 1908 was the last time they'd won a medal. And basically he broke everything down to individual steps. So there was no one silver bullet. So he looked at everything from nutrition to sleep patterns to friction to the dust in the mechanics lorry, which was impacting on the bike performance when it built up. So the whole point is of marginal gains, as the word say. You basically take lots of little, the 1%, metaphorical 1% gains, and you start to multiply those up, and together they help you win. And you also get shared learning that comes from that. So as it accelerates, it drives the change. So if you look at where he was, he basically went from nothing to a couple of medals in 2004 to record-breaking 8 golds in 2008 to 2012, I think it was. And when I talk about the shared gains, applied that across all of cycling, not just the velodrome we think of when we see the gold medals, and had a haul of something like 59 world championships in his tenure by applying that. So in my keynote, it's something I firmly believe in, is it's taking that same principle. We have an Olympic-sized challenge. We're exceeding planetary boundaries. We have a huge way to go and we're not going fast enough. So if we can engage our supplier base now and get all of them to get 1% better, 2% better, that will start to compound. And ultimately, it's only by doing that are we going to win against that Olympic challenge. And as I said in my talk, there's no second place in this race. This is one we've got to win.
And what do some of those marginal gains in a sustainability context actually look like on the ground?
So from a practical point of view, let's take a decision around something like packaging. So packaging is relevant to nearly every company. It's very high profile. Certainly plastics became the devil when the Blue Planet aired. But again, there's not a silver bullet for a lot of things. There's some things we don't know how to package. But actually, if I simply take a cardboard carton and I reduce the weight of that board, and I go from whatever it is, gram per square meter, and I save that by 20%. I'm using less paper. I'm using less processing to create it. I've reduced my weight when I'm shipping it. It's those little gains that clearly happen at scale. And you can take that to every part. And as I say, taking the metaphor goes right back to this breaking it down into individual pieces, because you can't come to work going, we're going to be just net zero. There's not one thing. I need to be resource efficient in my packaging. I need to be resource efficient in my material. I was speaking to somebody here, and they've stopped using sellotape in their packaging process. It's resource efficient, it's more environmentally friendly, it's saving money. It's a great example of a marginal gain.
And you mentioned also that collaboration sort of throughout the value chain is also very important for organizations who are looking to achieve their sustainability goals. How do they go about that, and in what ways can they make marginal gains in a collaborative sense?
So when we talk about collaboration, we talk about 3 pillars of collaboration: communication, accountability, and support. And so firstly, I don't believe you can have collaboration unless you have all 3. Collaboration is mistaken as I'm just going to tell people a bunch of stuff. That's not it. That's just been selling people. Neither can you do it with a big stick of thou must do this. So communication is what are we doing, why are we doing, how are we doing, and actually playing to the intrinsic motivators of the people in those companies you want to work with you to join you on their journey. The accountability is then against smart goals, sharing where people are on that journey. So you've not got your scorecard of good and bad suppliers. They know exactly how they're being measured. They know exactly what they've got to achieve. And support, obviously, as the name implies, is ultimately how do I get there? So we regularly look at it from the perspective of the supplier. So that's what do I need to do and why? How am I doing? How do I get better? And if you can have that practical conversation at scale, and that's where things like the Supply Pilot platform add value. If you've got one supplier, you don't need any of the things in this venue today. You need a phone. Go and talk to somebody. You've got 10 suppliers, it's emails and spreadsheets. When you've got hundreds of suppliers and thousands of materials, you need something that allows you to scale up that conversation so you understand where people are on the journey. And it doesn't matter whether they are a long way on their journey and you can help them get from a policy to a science-based target, or whether they're just starting on their journey and you can actually help them have a first carbon policy, which means taking the first step. What does that marginal gain mean for them? It says they're coming on the journey with you.
And as I say, you were delivering a keynote earlier on at Sustainability Live. How has the event been for you? What kind of conversations have you had? What kind of people have you met?
So it's been a great event. In the obviously we all know there's not been that many live events in person over the last couple of years, and the hybrid nature of this appears to have worked really well. Personally, I've enjoyed the conversations where people are actually coming and talking about action. Obviously, it resonates for Supply Pilot, but actually it's what's passionate to me. And the whole purpose of the keynote speech is it's fair to say there's lots of sustainability conferences where they can be talking about how are we going to define a new metric for X and how are we going to bring in a regulation for Y. And I think that's actually professionals unintentionally creating inertia. So there's a danger that people go, well, I won't do this and wait to see what the regulation is. We had it in the UK with plastic packaging where people said COVID delayed the EPR legislation and people kind of going, well, let's just wait and see what the legislation says. Kind of going, it's going to say you need to be more sustainable. So actually crack on and do action. And the nice thing about the talks, but more importantly, the networking is the number of people having those conversations about how do I really make a difference where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Okay. If you were going to sum up sustainability in one brief sentence, what would it be?
The short answer is resource efficiency. The longer answer, if I may, is resource efficiency is at the principle. We are out consuming the planet. Right? If we focus on resource efficiency, we will be more sustainable, but we will do it in a way that's more economical, whether it be excess shipping, excess materials, etc. So resource efficiency.
James Butcher, Supply Pilot, much obliged.
Thank you very much.